Okay, page 49. Now, if you unite the damages which we yearly suffer from all these enemies, to the badness of our fences, to the want of subordinate workmen, to the high price of our labor, to the ignorance of our tradesmen, to the severities of our winters, to the great labors we must undergo, to the celebrity with which the rapid seasons hurry all our rural operations, you'll have a more complete idea of our situation as farmers than you had before. If farmers possess humility, endurance, and perspective, it is because they must if they are to survive their wars. Each adversary tries the farmer in a unique way. The need to accept the tragic limitations of man derives from the inexplicable damage of the viruses. Insects teach us that war, strife, and aggression are with us always. Surrender or pacifism gets us and all we hold dear killed. And because we square off against mites and mildew each year in a war that has no beginning and no end, we understand that progress, even success, is transitory and quickly lost should we let down our guard. Farmers, if they have farmed for any length of time, also gain historical perspective in which the present is seen as not particularly any more important than the past. When I lost my first raisin crop, when my first harvest of table grapes rotted, in my hysteria I sought to instill a similar panic in my parents, who, after all, had co-signed the crop loan. But they scoffed and were not serene, not frenzied, rattling off similar disasters of the last half-century. The 32 Frost, the sibling who, during the war, demanded to be bought out with cash. The 47 price collapse, the big rain of 1958, finishing with not much more of a reply than, well, that's farming. Next year will be better. I had not known their wars, but at that moment I saw how their campaigning had made them so contrary to their peers in town. How strange that the grubby farmer in the coffee shop, the sullen agrarian in line at the post office, is in fact a decorated war veteran whose survival is proof that he has won more than he has lost. That at year's end he did harvest his crops after all, that he is a warrior on the front line, whose combat has made him wise and different from the rest of us. 1. Viruses and bacteria. The farmer's worst antagonists among the lower animal kingdom, as with the adversaries of society at large, are and always have been invisible to the naked eye. They have no color, no shape, no beauty. They emit no sound. Few make any movement we can see. You see only their damage, not them. Most viral, bacterial, fungal, or parasitic intruders ultimately kill their hosts, our trees and vines. But they are also programmed, thank God, so that their success is also their eventual demise. They at least leave you when your orchard is dead. Farmers do not really know the origins of these pathogens that they cannot detect, much less their life cycles and methods of reproduction. No wonder the Aristotelian Theophrastus, some 24 centuries prior to us, despaired of the work of the invisible tree and vine killers. He dubbed them the bringers of the unnatural and violent way of death. True, we no longer, as the Greeks did, call their invisible work unnatural and violent, but do we know much more than Theophrastus about their causation and etiology? We can at least recognize the symptomatology of the sudden and hated microscopic attack on agriculture: burned pear limbs, the dropping of grape leaves, the malformation of vine canes, or the ugly sap-like mucus that oozes from the now cracked scaffolds of the plum tree. Plant pathologists who have identified such infectious villains with the aid of the electron microscope and the genetic marker, and thus have given them a nomenclature of genus and species: Agrobacterium tumefaciens, Phomopsis viticola, Fomes ignaris, Ziphinema index, and the like, know little of how to stop them. They offer only concerned advice on how to avoid their alighting, how to curb their outbreak, but never can say how to end their destruction once they have arrived. And battery's gonna die. That's top of page 51.